You get home, unpack the groceries you just spent a fortune on, and tear into a new bag of snacks, only to find it's mostly air. The food barely reaches the halfway mark. For the past few years, the companies making these products have offered a standard defense. They point to general inflation and ongoing supply chain issues as the sole reasons it costs them more to produce and transport goods to your local store. But look closer at the actual products. If you compare the physical footprint of historical grocery staples to what sits on the shelf today, the math doesn't add up. Take the standard orange juice bottle. This chart compares the percentage of physical volume lost in everyday items against the official national inflation rate over the exact same period. The drop in product size is significantly larger than the inflation rate itself. If the shrinkage of the product outpaces the actual rate of inflation, the official corporate story falls apart. You are unknowingly paying a hidden, extra premium for less food. To see how this deception works, we have to walk down the supermarket aisles and look at the physical engineering of the packaging itself. Manufacturers rely on subtle structural tricks. With paper towels, they utilize looser cardboard tubes and wrap fewer sheets per roll. The packaging takes up the exact same amount of space on the shelf, maintaining the outward illusion of size while delivering significantly less paper. The same spatial geometry applies to dry goods. Notice how modern cereal boxes have been engineered to be taller, yet noticeably thinner. They maintain a dominant, billboard-like presence facing the consumer, masking the fact that they hold considerably fewer ounces of food. Every aspect of these products, from the thickness of the box to the density of the roll, has been physically redesigned to mislead the eye. To understand how companies got away with this, we have to look back to 2020.
There was a legitimate global supply chain crisis that drove up shipping and production costs worldwide. Seeing completely empty store shelves created a psychological blind spot. It primed buyers to accept higher prices without question, simply out of relief that the products were available. But then a pivot occurred. Shipping routes reopened and the cost of raw materials stabilized. Yet corporations continued to use the supply chain narrative as an ongoing excuse for high prices at the register. The actual logistical crisis ended, but the story of the crisis was kept alive by corporate boards to maintain a permanent state of artificially inflated prices. This graph tracks two timelines. Corporate input costs, like shipping, rose initially, then fell, but consumer prices stayed permanently high. The widening gap between those lines reveals where the surplus went, straight into record corporate profit margins, which drove 53% of inflation in 2023. This is greedflation, a strategy of deliberate wealth extraction, masking as an unavoidable economic trend. Look at your last grocery receipt. Start viewing it not as a standard bill, but as a detailed ledger of a wealth transfer. This animated receipt breaks down a single standard item. You can clearly see the split between the true cost of the physical goods and the artificial greedflation markup stacked on top. Each grocery trip serves as a mechanism for transferring billions from household budgets into corporate reserves. To counter this, you have to change your purchasing habits. Start calculating the price per ounce instead of the price per package, and actively look past the deceptive structural designs of the boxes and bottles on the shelf. Reclaiming the value of your dollar starts with recognizing that much of this inflation is a calculated business choice. Seeing through the illusion is the first step toward change.